Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 293. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike. What's up, Mike?
What up? What up? Happy week after Turkey Day. Well, it hasn't been a week, but it's episode after Turkey Day, so still digesting naturally. Yeah, it's been a pretty good week, I think.
Managed to only gain 3 pounds during Thanksgiving, so
wow.
Okay, I'll take that as a win.
There you go. That was like your cheat day. A couple cheat days, and now you're back on it.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Nice.
Good beer, good food, good family.
And with all the holidays, I hope everybody's celebrating with their families as well this whole month, pretty much. We'll be lacking a little bit on the interviews just because it's winding down to the holidays. It's hard to get a hold of everybody, and things are crazy. So it's gonna be us for the next few episodes, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. Any new listeners? We do this every year around this time. Yeah. Just no more interviews. It's between work schedules and just the fact that it's the holidays. It's tough to do so many interviews. So we say fuck it, and we do the show alone.
Do a live where we have to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I could catch up on all the comics I was behind on this week, but I read a lot, but I still haven't caught up. So,
don't feel bad, me too.
Okay. I had like a laundry list of shit I had to get done, and like reading the comics is on there, and I got through like over half, and then I was like, then I started because I missed the previous week, and I'm like, shit, I forgot about that book. And then, of course, when you're trying to get through all this, then a Kickstarter book comes in the mail, and you're like, oh, shit. And it just piles on and on. But, I mean, I guess as far as problems go, having too many comic books to read is probably a good one.
Yeah, and you know what? Next week, 5th week of the month, that means a short list of books, so a good time to catch up.
True, yeah, we get that infamous 5th week. Yeah, because it's December on what, Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Everyone's ready for Christmas.
DC and Marvel are just like, we got a few to put out. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. DC's on Tuesdays, not Wednesdays, because
it's on Wednesdays for me.
Yeah. It's Wednesdays. Yeah, that's true. Unless you're digital. I just got done watching the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, so we'll talk about that today for sure. Watched a bunch of movies over the little break we had. New movies and some stuff that I've been wanting to watch. So I have a little bit of horror stuff to talk about. Finished Doom Patrol Season 3, powered through that. So I'll be talking about that.
Yeah, I've been knee deep in not only Pokemon, but also the new God of War.
Oh, wow. You're playing both at once.
Yeah. So
nice.
New God of War Ragnarok's got more of its hooks in me right now, but as soon as that's done, it's gonna be all Pokemon all the time.
Have you played Pokemon at all yet?
Oh yeah, I've gotten through a bunch of it because it's one of those games like I've played every Pokemon, so I'm not there for the story. Like,
yeah,
I know some people are. I've heard the recaps of the stories. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
So, like today, watching football, playing Pokemon. Something's going on. I got my show on at night. I'll be playing Pokemon. So yeah.
I've seen a lot of negative things. I mean, I almost see this with every Pokemon release now. There's a lot of negative things, but people are like, you gotta, if you want to hit them where it hurts, you guys keep pre-ordering and buying the game, so we can't be that bad.
So I've played quite a bit of it, and I've had, the frame rate's not acceptable, but I've seen how they already figured out the problem and they're setting out an update. So I'm not even worried about that.
Yeah.
The glitch thing, I'm like, every game has glitches, and I've been playing it for, I think I've got almost 15 hours in it, and I can tell you I haven't seen a single glitch.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe it's overblown, maybe it's not. But what I see most of the time with these is people want that game to be something it's not.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the fan base, like myself, like I'm a 34-year-old man playing this game, but the fan base grew up and is like, I want this version of Pokemon, and you just gotta sit down and be like, this is a children's game. Like, it's not gonna be what you want it to be. It's gonna be what it is, and you can either accept that or you can move on.
Yeah,
and that's my kind of feelings of it. I like kind of simplicity of it,
and that's coming from like the biggest Pokemon fan I know. I think.
Yeah, and I still love it for that, but the simplicity is part of the reason I love it. Like,
yeah,
it's dependable, it's there, and it's, I know what it's going to be. I don't know. Do I dream of one day having the MMO that I've always wanted? Yeah, but I know it's not happening, so I don't get mad when it doesn't happen, like most people seem to be doing online.
Well, then I saw the graphic of like, and we don't need to talk about video games too much. Just checking on my cat that she's not going to jump on me. We don't we don't have to talk about video games the whole time, but I did see a graphic of like there's some ridiculous amount of money like anytime Nintendo has a Pokemon game release versus like God of War. I think God of War made like $5 million, and the Pokemon game made like, I don't know, like 10 times that or like 100 times that. And I was like, wow, I guess I didn't realize the fan base for Nintendo versus everything else, especially when it comes to Pokemon. Like, it's crazy.
It's also Santa Monica Studios that does God of War. Huge studio, tons of people employed.
Yeah.
All this shit. Game Freak has like 50 employees, which in video game terms, as I'm sure you know, Mike, is nothing.
Yeah.
So costs are low and the game sells like hotcakes. So
yeah, that's insane. But either way, I hope everybody's enjoying all the games. I've been powering through all my indie games because I got my Steam Deck and just laying on the couch playing that while I watch TV shows. Speaking of TV shows, we can talk about some of the shit we watched. Andor season finale, and I heard there's an after credits scene. I've been seeing that all over the internet.
Yeah, so the season finale was Andor coming back to his home planet. His adopted mother died, so it's all about the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of like sparks the revolution because his adopted mother had decided at the end of her life that she's sick of this empire and we're going to fight back. And there's like a great speech at the end that she gives via a hologram as her not obituary, but eulogy. And then fighting breaks out. It's a really good episode. It ends on a huge cliffhanger, which kind of sucked, but I still, as a whole, like, I really like this season. I could completely understand why people would not like it. It's very different for Star Wars, but that's one of the things I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the after credit scene is, if you remember me talking about them being in the prison, making those random things that we didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the pieces that held together the panels for the Death Star's laser.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was the end credit scene, was them, like, the robots taking those pieces and putting them in between the panels and all that. So
that's sick.
It kind of added to that whole thing of the Empire was using what was essentially slave labor to create these parts for the Death Star.
That's makes it even more of a Death Star.
Yeah.
Even more evil. That's awesome.
Yeah,
do you think, when you said cliffhanger, do you think they'll do a second season?
Oh yeah, what they want to do is, I guess my time might be incorrect, but I think there was 4 years in between this season and what happened in Rogue One.
Okay.
So they want to do 4 seasons leading up to the events of Rogue One.
Okay.
Now that obviously depends on if people watch it.
Yeah.
But it seems like it did really well. It's good with the critics, so I think they already started filming season 2. So I'm pretty sure season 2 is coming. Yeah.
Cool.
And to be fair, huge cliffhanger. I mean, Andor's in Rogue One, so like I know he's not dead.
Right.
But still, like, it's a cliffhanger and like the decision that needs to get made in that moment.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I still need to catch up on it. I did finish. Let's talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special because I literally just watched it like an hour ago. My only critique of it is it was too short, but it was still good. And they did tease at the end that we're getting more specials or something about another special. But I mean, the premise is they capture Mantis and Drax capture Kevin Bacon as a Christmas present to cheer up Star-Lord, and it was a pretty awesome, like 45-minute episode, I guess you could call it, and brings back the meaning of Christmas. And then, like, at the end, we find out that Mantis is daughter of the Living Planet, and so is Peter Quill. So now they're like half siblings, which is interesting. I like to kind of put something that's very canon and like a non-canon attire, I guess. No, but it was a good time, and the scenes with Kevin Bacon were a lot of fun.
I come on a little bit on the other end. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the production quality wasn't up to par, but what was I going to say about that? You could tell like Chris Pratt didn't work out or get into shape for this. They kind of just threw the suit on him or threw the jacket on him to like film it. But yeah,
it felt like an afterthought for a lot of it. Like I liked a lot. So there's some good scenes throughout it. Like the beginning song was kind of fun.
Yeah.
The conclusion of it I thought was kind of meh. But Drax is phenomenal throughout the whole thing. Like he's definitely the star of this.
Yeah.
And I do think it's hilarious that Drax is wearing a vest the whole time.
Yeah.
Because anyone that knows, like, that's one of Batista's complaints about Drax. He's like, I'm sick of being shirtless all the time.
Right.
Which, to be fair, if I looked like fucking Batista, I would be shirtless all the time too. But
this is coming from the guy he made his career in a bikini. So
yeah,
he's probably tired of it.
It's a weird complaint. I mean, whatever. If that's what people can change over time. I get it, but so I thought that was funny, and there's good like scenes throughout it, but it's really a Drax and Mantis show throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's fun, it's enjoyable, but it kind of just like got me in the mood for Guardians of the Galaxy, and to know that I have to wait like almost a year to get more.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I think overall it was a lot of fun. And the after credits scene, they're like, "Yo, I guess we got to do another special." But I'd rather see more Peacekeeper from James Gunn, if you ask me.
Oh, I think James Gunn says he's done with Marvel.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
He's heading up DC, so I seriously doubt he's going to do anything else.
Yeah, if they do another special, it won't be by him. Yeah, there was something about that. Like they're going to talk about maybe in the next month. I think December we might get an announcement about the DC slate of movies. So that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, and actually, you bring it up. There's been like rumors floating around everybody.
Yeah,
Gunn's basically said they're all bullshit. He goes, the only people that know what's going on, like I guess one of them was that Henry Cavill got this big extension.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Henry Cavill's gotten shit. Like, the only people that know what's going on at DC are me and Peter, the guy, the co-head.
Yeah, the co-head with him, yeah.
And we haven't finalized anything. So you guys will know when like we hammer things out, but like anything you're hearing online is bullshit at this point.
Yeah, I love that he calls people out on Twitter. It's pretty...
it's pretty phenomenal.
The one thing I did see was Jason Momoa there was some weird interaction between like James Gunn brought up Lobo or something like that, and Momoa brought up in an interview, he's like really cryptic about it. He's like, yeah, something's going on, or something about another character or something that's really like a project that's really true to his heart, and we know he's a huge Lobo fan, and that's like what he wanted to be initially. So that would be interesting if we got a Momoa Lobo. I don't know.
He would be a much better Lobo than he is Aquaman.
Yeah, but I don't
not
know
to say that he's a bad Aquaman. I'm just saying he would be so much better as Lobo.
The dude looks like Lobo, and he acts like Lobo in real life, so he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, we'll celebrate here once Gunn announces his plans. Yeah. But
I would be interested to see how they could do that, like have him play two characters in one universe.
I mean, my money's still on they're going to reshoot part of Flash, and it's basically going to be a soft reboot, and they're going to keep things they like, get rid of things they don't. And maybe Aquaman's one of those things they don't. Who knows?
We'll see. I mean, they do have to get rid of what's her name at some point, or I think.
Mara.
Yeah, I don't think they ever announced what they were doing with that.
I think I get rid of Flash too. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, in shambles. Imagine like coming into that job and they're like, "Oh yeah, half our superheroes are are up for jail time." So what do we do?
That's why you just make Patterson a post Flashpoint Batman and move forward with him. Like,
there you go. Move forward. Yeah.
Yep. But anyways, we've talked about this a million times.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Follow Battinson with the red flare into Salvation. Okay, so I finished up Doom Patrol season 3 this week. I would say so. Doom Patrol. If you're going into like Doom Patrol expecting like punchy, that's not what you're gonna get. I almost like it and don't like it for that because like I can't even say that as like it's not a bad thing when I say don't like it. It's because like I'm so used to having like shows like Umbrella Academy where you have these strange characters that are all like weird explorations of like the human mind because of like what's been done to them. And that's like you get that in Umbrella Academy, but then you have like these huge big blockbuster fights and like end of the world shit where it's like Doom Patrol doesn't really have that. And it makes for some like really crazy and like almost like stuff that I can't even like get a grip on unless I rewatch it, of like existential conversations and stuff like that, because you have especially with Brendan Fraser's character Robot Man, he has like some really good like conversations in this season about like how he was a piece of shit with his family and how he still had to see his wife like die or like see his wife's dead body at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's like and like Brendan Fraser like gets his body for part of it, like the kind of the climax of the season is like their subconsciousness and consciousness switches. So like you have these people doing conversations like, you know, with that they have bodies now. So it's like it's really interesting. They're all like sitting around talking about like how they fucked up their lives and how they're like how they would resolve things, and then you're sitting there like, holy shit, is this like a comic book show? Like what's going on? But I would say great season. I can't wait for season 4 because we almost got to the point where they're like they understand that they're each other's families and that they've like established that they need to do things as a team and start helping people out, which is interesting. So I'm excited for season 4, which actually comes out in a week. So I didn't realize it comes out in a weekend.
Yeah, as someone who's behind still and is going to try to catch up in the coming weeks, that show feels like Grant Morrison's drug-addled brain come to life. Like
yeah,
and that's why I kind of like that it's not so punchy and is more just his craziness come to life.
And I think that's why we got another season of it, because they really just like have taken something that's almost like you don't know how to feel about it because you've never seen anything like it really on like TV. So it's definitely interesting. And I mean, Brendan Fraser is just killing it, man. He's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really good as a side note to see him like come back. Yeah,
for sure.
Like I remember, like I mean, I was young, but they're still fun action movies. Those Mummy movies were so good. Like,
oh yeah. I rewatched the first one the other night. They're so much fun.
Yeah,
he's the best. And he even said like he was open to doing another one. So like maybe one day he'll come back and do it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Let it die, Brendan. Let it die. Like
unless he does like a whole Batman Beyond thing where he's like coaching a new person. I mean, you look at Indiana Jones, we saw the picture of him, he's like 78 or whatever, or 80. I don't know how old he is now, but
I have a lot of opinions about these like sequels that are 20 years too late that we keep getting.
Yeah.
Or like reboots that are just 20 years too late.
Yeah.
And I just think that we need to let some things die. And that's one of them. Like, let those movies be what they were.
Yeah.
Do new Mummy stuff. I don't care, but like that version of the Mummy, it's just let it go.
And the whole like that's like the Indiana Jones thing where they're like de-aging him like 30 years in the movie. So we're getting old Harrison Ford, but in the movie it's going to be young Harrison Ford. I wonder how they're going to enhance the voice for that.
I love those old indie movies. I mean, we all do.
Yeah, right.
That should have been left as a trilogy.
Yeah, like what? You're really forcing it to where like this dude's like pushing almost 80 years old, and you're like, but we want the young version of you. So we have a guy that we've casted as you before in a Star Wars property, but we said, no, we don't want him to play young you. We're just going to take you and then de-age you digitally. And that's how we're going to do it. Like, what?
And if anyone's seen, like, did you see The Irishman?
Yes.
And like the technology is phenomenal. I'm not.
It is really good. Yeah.
But it's so obvious when it's like 104-year-old Robert De Niro de-aged to be like 20 years old.
Yeah,
because the way he walks around and everything.
Right, you can tell it's an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked in Iron Man because it was like a quick scene, and like Robert Downey Jr. is still young enough where like he could get away with pretending to be a teenager.
Right.
But yeah.
We'll see. And then I watched a bunch of movies over the short little break we had. So I watched Bullet Train. Have you seen that?
No.
A lot of fun. It almost reminded me of like Quentin Tarantino style storytelling and like kung fu cinema. And
this is the one with Brad Pitt, right?
Brad Pitt, and a whole slew of famous actors show up, and I won't even spoil because there's like a big reveal like who the villain is and all this shit. It's pretty awesome. But it was a lot of fun. Basically, I mean, it takes place on a bullet train. Like Brad Pitt's not even supposed to be there that day, kind of like, Clerks. Yeah, so he's not supposed to, like, he's filling in for an assassin. So he's like there to pick up a briefcase, and there's all these other assassins on the train. Amazing characters, and a lot of people that I like. Great fight scenes. A lot of different tropes that are like flipped upside down. And it all like really bases the story off. A lot of the characters like throughout the whole movie talk about how they're lucky or unlucky, and a lot of that like applies to them throughout the movie. Like some ridiculous shit happens to them that's like either really bad or really good for them, and it's all based on like luck because they're all very skilled assassins. And then at the end you see the villain, like the fight scene at the end is just fucking awesome, and like you have no idea who the actor is for the villain, and then he shows up and you're like, oh shit, like is that, oh yeah, it is him. So and that was a fun part of the movie, so I won't spoil that for you, but it was a lot of fun. I think you'll like it. Barbarian was kind of crazy. So
first, before you go in this, I gotta know.
Yeah.
Where does this take place in the Conan the Barbarian mythos?
That's true. I have no idea. This oldest
joke about this movie.
Oh yeah. It takes place after the King Conan years, thousands of years later, in the year of 2022.
Oh, okay. So like a great granddaughter.
Yeah, it's actually so. This movie is kind of, it's like a horror movie, and so it's broken up into 3 acts. The first act, you think you know what the movie is going to be about, and then you get to Act 2, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Also, Justin Long is in this. I had no idea. I haven't seen him in a movie in like since the movie Accepted, back in like, I don't know, 2002. Do you remember that movie?
Oh yeah, you gotta watch Tusk.
Yeah. Tusk. I'm sorry, I did see Tusk. I forgot he was in that.
I was gonna ask what kind of animal he got transformed into.
Yeah. So this movie, if I had to like describe it to people, because I don't want to, because a lot of it I can't really speak about without spoiling it, but I will say this. It's about like a girl, she stays in an Airbnb. There's already someone staying there, and then some weird shit starts happening. It's like Get Out and Us, and the fact that, by Jordan Peele. the fact that he uses like racism for horror, you know. This one is more about like sexism in horror, because like you have this woman who's like very smart and very much can make these decisions to keep herself alive on her own, and you have these idiot dudes showing up that are like, no, I'm gonna save you, like I'm saving you. And like, as long as if she just made the decisions and like didn't have them, like the dudes that show up make such bad decisions. And like, it also focuses on the fact that like she's staying alone in Airbnb, and like she can't just trust a random stranger that shows up, you know what I mean? Like that's just something that women deal with in everyday life, like in the middle of Detroit, like some guy just like, oh, I'm gonna help you out. So it's really interesting, like, and there's all different aspects of that with the horror. And I will say the other crazy part about it is it takes place in like the slums of Detroit. So you have that aspect of it too, of like, okay, something's bad happening and you call the cops are fucking busy. You know what I mean? Like they're dealing with like shootouts in the streets and things like that. Well, not every day, but obviously like they have more important things to like handle than saying like, oh, somebody's chasing me. Like they're not going to believe you. And then you deal with a lot with that of like, oh, you know, this is Detroit. Like the cops are a little preoccupied. So I thought that was really interesting. Like the whole setting of it and how that affects the main story. I really enjoyed it. So and I don't want to take the experience away from anybody. If you enjoy horror, if you enjoy movies like Us or Get Out, I really liked it, and it was like a refreshing twist on normal horror movies. And then last but not least, A Christmas Story Christmas. Yeah, that's the Ralphie Got Old movie is out.
There's a sequel to The Christmas Story?
Yeah, they just put it on. It's on HBO, dude. You got to watch it. It was really good.
This is what I'm talking about.
Hold on. I know. Listen, I know everything sequels and reboots. This movie was pleasantly surprising. It's bittersweet because it is the passing away. It hits everybody in the heartstrings. Ralphie's father passes away at the beginning of the movie, and it's about him trying to make Christmas special again for his kids.
Does he finally put his eye out?
No, he doesn't. But he's also like he's a really good actor. And I looked up like his IMDb page. He's been in a couple Marvel movies. I don't even remember him being in them. But the kids, the son and the daughter, they're child actors. They're not annoying for once, Chris. Like you actually want to watch more of these kids on the screen. They're actually really funny. And the actress that plays his mom, it's not the same actress, but she does a great job. Like she's actually pretty hilarious. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie, and it's on HBO, and I know you get HBO, so you might as well check it out.
Yeah.
Come on. I thought it was a good overall story. It was enjoyable. And I know a lot of people...
I believe you, but at the same time, like, why do we need a sequel to The Christmas Story?
I don't know, HBO's like, why not? What else can we get people to watch?
Yeah, we need to watch something. God knows, freaking Snyder's cut didn't work.
Yeah, we know that's not
actor. He was in Iron Man.
Yeah, he was in Iron Man. I don't remember what. Like, he's still a really good actor. I was surprised, like, he's not annoying like he was as a kid, you know?
William Ginter Riva. Oh, I know this guy, yeah.
He was in the first Iron Man?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's same character in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was in Far From Home. He must have been like a scientist or some shit.
And then his seminal role in 1981 of Honky Tonk Freeway. Nice.
We all know that. Yeah, that's a classic. But
it's funny, this guy's probably like, how old is he? Oh, he's born way before me, never mind.
Yeah, he's old.
He's probably got 17 years on me.
Yeah, I think he's almost 50 something. But either way, I thought it was good. I did embrace the Christmasness of it, and it has a really good overall story. I almost like just because of how much the original gets like shoved down our throat. I think I might like this one better for now. It was. I am look. Yeah,
I haven't watched the original in a long time. Actually, I know it's on like 24/7 around this time of year, but yeah, I haven't watched it in a while. It's not Christmas until Die Hard comes.
Yeah, Die Hard. Yes. That and did you see the new one coming out with David Harbour?
Yeah.
Is it Silent Night or something?
No, I think it's like Naughty List or something.
It's like
Violent Night. It's
Violent Night. Yeah, it's David Harbour as like Santa, and he's got to he's goes to a home where the family's being held hostage. It's amazing.
Well, what's awesome about it is he's legit Santa.
Oh yeah, he's like magical Santa.
Yeah. So yeah, me and some friends are gonna go see that because that looks just so fun and goofy and awesome. I can't wait to watch that. Yeah,
it might be a staple every Christmas to watch that now.
That's good. That's like the first non-franchise movie that I'm like super excited for in a while. Because everything I'm excited for now is like Marvel, DC, James Bond, Apes.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's all they make are those movies.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why I had a lot of fun watching Bullet Train and Barbarian just for that fact. They weren't tied to anything, they weren't like some big huge push to watch those movies. Those are fun to watch.
Yeah, I was thinking about it recently, and I don't go to the movies as much as I used to, but two of the things I really liked, so I like zombie stuff, and that got shoved down our throats. People got sick of it.
Yep.
Understand, whatever. But I also really just like comedies.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice we don't get comedies anymore.
Yeah, we really don't.
There's no Judd Apatow movies coming out anymore. There's no, Kevin Smith makes a movie occasionally, but it's just not the same.
Seth Rogen's doing comic shit, comic book stuff.
So that's a big reason why non-franchise movies aren't a big thing for me anymore. And we don't get the weird wacky stuff as much. Yeah. Bullet Train kind of fits that role, so I probably should have supported it, but
there was that one year they tried to do the Zoolander sequel or whatever, and then it was oh, let's do more sequels of comedy shit, and it's no, that's not what hits, man.
Speaking of sequel 20 years too late.
Yeah.
Well, they're talking about doing a Dodgeball 2, and that's another one where I'm I'll go see it when it comes out because it's Dodgeball, but
right.
I have zero hope of that being good.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, I do see that though. Not a whole lot of comedies. I know the new Puss in Boots movie's coming out, so that might be pretty funny. But that's a cartoon, so I'm a fan of the Shrek universe.
I would be in for a new Shrek with the full cast and everything. I unironically love the Shrek movies.
Oh, same. Yeah, I've been put onto those by someone who lives with me, and I love them. At first, I was like, "How can you watch Shrek so much?" And then I would sit down and watch it with her every time she had it on. I'm like, "This movie slaps every time. It's so good."
2 and 3 are good too.
They're all good. Yeah,
2's got better moments in it, more quotable moments in it than the first one does.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And the animation, even with how bad the animation is at the first one, it's still hilarious. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Man, now I just want to go watch Shrek. Fuck this. All right, let's pack it up. I'm gonna go watch.
Yeah, where's Shrek? Where's Shrek streaming these? Let's go find out. We got time to fill people.
I believe it's on HBO. Or maybe Disney now. I don't know. It's flipped around a few times.
I feel like it would be on Disney because isn't it?
Probably they own everything now, so it could be on Disney.
Watch Shrek streaming online on Peacock.
Well, that's why I haven't seen it in a while. I don't own Peacock, everybody. Sorry. But I will tell you, Peacock knew what they were doing when they got those rights. Straight up.
Dude, Peacock's got some bangers on it.
Yeah, that's true. I do need to... Maybe I'll get a free subscription and try to binge through all that shit. Before we jump into the comic news, I did post on my Twitter this evening because I put some ornaments on the tree of my favorite ornament, which I got last year, but it's an ornament I think from Hallmark from 2020. It's the 60s Batman Batmobile and Batman and Robin sitting in it. So I was pretty happy to put that up this year. And I was curious what our listeners and viewers, their favorites are. If they have any cool comic book ones and want to share, tweet at us. But thought that'd be something cool.
It will shock nobody that I have way too many Star Wars ones.
Dude, and they make so many cool Star Wars ones every year, dude.
Well, for a long time there, because Hallmark makes the Star Wars ones.
Yeah.
And for a long time when, like, my parents still wanted some sort of, like, present when they were still around for Christmas, because now they fuck off to Florida this time of year.
As they should.
Yeah. But they used to give me, like, multiples of, like, 2 or 3 Christmas ornaments every year, and so it'd just be Star Wars ones, and so I have so many Star Wars ones. Like, I have random, like, Rebels characters. That's like awesome. How deep my Star Wars ornament collection goes.
Yeah. Well, they started running out of people to make the ornaments of. They're like, shit, we got to dig into the Rebels characters now. Yeah. Same with like Harry Potter and Batman and stuff. But I did miss the one. The 60s Batman ones, man, they did like the last few years. Those go for a lot of money now, like $200. Oh, yeah. And I wish I had them all, but I don't. I have the Batmobile, which is good enough for me now. But there's some really. Do you have like they had like a die-cast metal Millennium Falcon from like a couple years ago? Did you get that one?
I don't think I got that one.
That one's heavy as hell. And it's
I was going to tell you, so 2 years ago, maybe it might have been last year, but I think it was 2 years ago, they did a Nintendo collection.
Oh.
And they did the gold cartridge of the original Zelda. And my buddy Cam is like the biggest Zelda fan in the world. Like has the fucking Triforce tattooed on him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I should buy that for him. And then I just never did.
Uh-huh.
And so this year I was looking because, sad time for Chris, but like, I live alone, so I got no one to buy shit for. So I was like, I'll buy stuff for him and his family.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so I went online. I'm like, I wonder if I can still get that. If I get it like reasonably, dude, it's like $300 for that.
Are you serious?
Thing. Yeah,
dude, you told me about that. I didn't even know it came out, and I want one.
Yeah, so I was like, well, and I found the same thing with the air freshener. I was like, he's going to settle for a $10 air freshener.
Hell yeah, that's fine. That works too. That's so cool. It's such a good idea. Oh man.
I'll send you what I'm getting him for Christmas too. It's pretty funny, but yeah.
Even Walmart has like an exclusive Hallmark section now, and they have like VHS tapes, like little ornaments that are VHS tapes of like Gremlins. And if they had a Die Hard one, I would have bought it instantly, but there was no Die Hard one.
This is also the first year in a long time I'm not putting up a tree.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I think when I lived alone, I had a tiny little tree, and I didn't put ornaments on it. I put a pop figure on the top of it.
I think when my plan comes together and I'm in a house next year, I'm gonna like buy a little fake tree and I'll put that out.
There you go.
But this year I'm just not bothering.
I think if I like had to go back, I probably, after doing it now, I think it gets me more in the mood to have like a tree with lights on it, and just using that as the primary source of lighting the living room right now instead of the actual living room lights.
Dude, I wish I had pictures of my tree growing up. With my parents, because like we used to, dude, it was a explosion of fucking Christmas on that tree.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, we'll get into the comic news now, everybody. DC has announced a Shazam one-shot titled Shazam: Fury of the Gods Special. Shazamily Matters #1. Yeah, you heard that right, folks. I'll read that title once again for everybody. Shazam: Fury of the Gods Special: Shazamily Matters #1. Wow.
Shazamily Matters is phenomenal.
Yeah, that is a great fucking lie. I just wish it wasn't buried under 2 other titles. Issue features stories written by members of the cast and crew of Shazam: Fury of the Gods, like Zachary Levi, Grace Carolyn Curry, Ross Butler, DJ Catrona, Adam Brody, Faith Herman, and screenwriter Henry Gayden. But not to be left out are some comic creators as well, like Tim Seeley, Colleen Doran, and Josh Trujillo. I was going to say, at least you got to let the comic writers shine too. That's cool. I'm going to be reading it because we don't get enough fucking regular Shazam. We bring this up almost every other episode, dude. Can we stop with the one-shots? Give me a book.
Well, you're getting one from Mark Waid soon.
I know.
Damn, yeah.
I
But
know.
yeah, that's what made me happy about this. Is now I have 2 Shazam books coming out that month,
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
and
Yeah, that is coming out the same month.
and the fact that like, I mean, everybody else too, but the fact that Zachary Levi is like, I'll write a Shazam story, just like made me so happy.
That is pretty awesome. Yeah.
I like that some of the people that are playing in these movies, like we had that Riddler series. I know I didn't pick it up, but like, whoever played Riddler, I forget his name now.
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano.
Yeah.
Actually wrote it. Like, I'm glad that they're actually getting into it to the point where they're making comics on the characters they're playing. Like, that's really cool to me.
I mean, they got to do the research for the character too, so like it makes sense. Like if they form a bond and they're like, I would like to tell a story. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for this. This sounds like a blast.
You know, Marvel's going to start doing that shit. They're going to be like, the next book from Robert Downey Jr. No, it won't be. It won't be RDJ.
Dude, there was a time at Marvel where they made like prequels to the movies when they were coming out. So like 2 months before the movie came out, they do like 2 issues, and they were god awful.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, for some of those early ones. Yeah. Donny Cates announced via Twitter this week that because of personal issues that have prevented him from focusing on his Marvel work, he will be leaving Hulk for all future issues. The remainder of the story will be written by the series artist Ryan Ottley, finishing with issue 14. Donny said he is not leaving Marvel, promises the next project is underway and will be insane, and did not mention anything about Thor. As for Ottley, it seems that he'll be taking a break from Marvel work after Hulk, moving to creator-owned series at Image, following Hulk 14, but says he's open to returning for the near future. If I was Ottley too, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to get the fuck out because now they're making me write these issues and drop.
He probably gets paid more for it, so...
Yeah, but if that's not in your schedule, I mean, that's got to be a tough thing to just take up. We knew Donnie was like absent from social media, dealing some issues and stuff like that.
Well, so Hulk and Thor were late for like 3 or 4 months, so I have a feeling that all this was like taken care of during that time.
Yeah.
So I don't think like at the last second they're like, quick, Otley, write something.
No, for sure. Yeah.
I honestly think that this was a planned absence for Otley because we're getting fucking Battle Beast. I'm calling it now. We're getting Battle Beast.
Yeah, he's going back to Image. Please.
Everyone remember, 20th anniversary of Invincible is next year. We got all those announcements for like little things like Facsimile Edition and all this other shit. They promised more. Battle Beast is coming. I'm telling you.
Battle Beast. How we had a Science Dog issues. No Battle Beast.
Yeah. So, Battle Beast with Otley's art. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Okay. So that's my aside there. The Donnie thing sucks. Like,
yeah, it does.
I was enjoying Hulk. It wasn't my favorite thing he's done, but I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
I really, really hope this isn't him. I get an announcement like next month he's leaving Thor too, because out of those two, Thor was definitely the shiner of them. Like it was so fucking good when he was writing it. But I just hope everything's okay. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Donnie's had issues in the past. Everybody knows the story of drug abuse and everything. So hopefully that's not what it is. Hopefully it is just like, hopefully, I wish nothing was happening to him, but hopefully it is what he says. It's just like a family thing and he's moving past it.
Yeah.
But I'll be excited to see what he's doing after this. Just kind of sucks that this had to go by the wayside.
Yeah, I think I'm cursed because this is like the first ongoing Hulk book I've read in a while, and then this happens. I can't just... I must be a curse. I can't read Marvel books, man.
And I saw some Donnie haters out there like talking about it. Like, this is the first time that he's done like a short ongoing. Like he did, and when he first started, he did that Thor thing that was short, or not Thor, I'm sorry, Thanos thing that was short. Yeah. He did a quick Doctor Strange thing, but then he did like all those issues of fucking Venom.
Yep.
And he's on like 30 or 40 of Thor. So like, this isn't a pattern in my opinion. This was something happened, and
yeah, for sure.
Like I said, I'll be excited to see what's next. I don't know what it could be because it feels like everybody's kind of taken. There is one, and if it's this, I'll be shocked and happy because Jason Aaron's Thor is coming to an, or no, I'm sorry, Jason Aaron's Avengers is coming to an end.
I was gonna say, why don't they just give him Avengers?
But that'd be the second time he takes over after Jason Aaron. So, yeah. But crazier things have happened. We'll see.
Yep. And then some sad news. American novelist, one of the co-founders of San Diego Comic-Con, Greg Bear, passed away at the young age of 71. Greg was one of the original 5 co-founders of San Diego Comic-Con. Is a novelist who's penned books in the worlds of Halo, Star Wars, and Star Trek franchises, as well as many of his own personal original works. That's pretty awesome to leave a legacy behind of San Diego Comic-Con, because not many people are going to leave something behind that hundreds of thousands of people show up to every year.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I looked it up. Can't say I have much of a personal connection with Greg Bear. Even like Halo and Star Wars, 2 franchises I love. I was looking at the stuff he did, and I don't think I've read any of them. And they're all, especially the Star Wars stuff's all older stuff, but it sucks. I know a lot of people loved him. I was trying to get some info out of people of his original stuff, like what's worth reading, because I saw like some fans like were really torn about it. But couldn't get anything.
Okay. With that, let's talk about what we read this week or didn't read. Dun dun dun. Just off the bat, I want to talk about a physical copy that I have. I don't get those a lot, but Kickstarter that showed up, called The Safe House. This is from Joseph. Afterlight Comics is the publisher. They do mostly horror books, and they have a pretty big following on Kickstarter. But Joseph Oliveira is the writer and colorist. Artist is Adrian Manuel Garcia. This dude has done a lot of horror books that I bought on Kickstarter. He puts them out almost like he has a project coming out almost like every month. Also, the cover is awesome. The interesting thing about this book is this dude is running low on cash, so his buddy wants to do a drug deal, so he drives him there, and the cartel like cuts his head off and gives it to his buddy to like carry back, and says like, if you tell anybody, we'll come kill your family. And he literally just was there by happen chance to drop him off. So he goes to the cops, they put him in witness protection. He's in this house, the safe house, and they tell him that he's going to be safe. They can't have any contact to the outside world, and some weird shit starts happening in the house. I think it's pretty interesting because like he's obviously has PTSD from seeing his friend get his head cut off in front of him, or coworker, and there also could be something happening in the house. Really good. This is a guy that also writes Moth Hill that I've been reading off of Kickstarter about Mothman. Really good shit.
Was that the first issue?
Yeah, this is the first issue, The Safe House. And a little cool thing that he did, you can see this here, this little gold trading card. He did an Afterlight Comics gold edition trading card with his signature on it. Pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
Little cool stuff from Kickstarter. Count Crawley, Volume 1. This is from Daniel DeSmalchin, the actor. This is the book that there's Volume 2 he's doing right now. I will say it was a lot of fun. I started picking it up in the middle of the book, and then I couldn't put it down. It was a lot. It was just like the character of Count Crawley is like the dude. It's like he's basically like Rod Sterling from Twilight Zone, or like the Crypt Keeper in Tales from the Crypt. They're like a host for this like late night horror movie show. So the real Count Crawley is gone, away from the show. He's retired or what have you, or disappeared. I believe he's retired. Yeah, or either way, he's out of the picture. The new person that fills in for the spot is like she gets fired from her job as a news anchor because she's an alcoholic, and she starts like telling people how much she hates them and stuff. She becomes the new Count Crawley. What she doesn't realize is Count Crawley is also like a monster hunter, to fight monsters like werewolves and Frankenstein and like, old school horror movie villains. It was a lot of fun, and that's kind of where the first volume wraps up, and I can't wait to read the second volume. The art is fantastic. I don't have the artist's name right here, but yeah, it was. I was pleasantly surprised that I hadn't like heard about this before the second volume came out.
So the plot is her like hunting down the universal monsters.
So like
or whatever.
she realizes after like putting a few slugs into the werewolf that like, oh, there's more to my job than just like hosting a TV show, and so she actually she finds the old Count Crawley, the original, and like he has a whole like, you know, weapons and tools and knowledge to help her out. So that's kind of where it wraps up.
Actually, that sounds really dope. I might check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. You would love it.
Yeah.
Especially the old school like monster movie shit. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Monkey Prince number 8, Yang and Chang. This is a nice wrap up where we finally see the Monkey Prince get his staff, his legendary staff. And now they're gonna go on to Metropolis. They had this whole fight with like Aquaman and Atlantis and Dragon Town and all these like water dragons. It was pretty sick. And then now the demons are trying to absorb all the strong heroes to create an army of like these demon warriors. It's still great. It's a lot of fun, this book. I like that we go to different towns and like see Monkey Prince's interaction with the, you know, the S tier, the top tier level heroes. So it's a fun book. Shaolin Cowboy number 7, Cruel to Be Kin, Jeff Darrow, Dale Stewart on the art. Another major fight. Art was good. I'll say this book is more of like a kung fu movie where you're watching it for the fighting styles, for the art, the way the art flows. The dialogue is whatever. I didn't really care for a lot of the political stuff they shoehorned into this one. The last few issues, they've like showed that the post-apocalyptic world is like run by like MAGA Republicans, and I didn't really care for that. Like in that book, it just felt like out of place. Like whatever, if you want to, you know, shit on those people, that's whatever you want to do. But like, it didn't really fit in the story they were telling.
That's been a complaint that I've expressed in the past, that people are like, "Oh, you don't like politics and comics?" It's like, no, I like it to be done good.
Yeah, like if you want to do politics and comics, do it like Mark Miller, who's based his whole career off of it. You know what I mean?
or like V for Vendetta is one of the most political books of all time. Like,
right.
Yeah. And it's amazing. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to expect every book to be V for Vendetta, but like, just do it good.
Yeah, and I think it's lazy just to write like, you know, MAGA shit on like people that are bad. You know, I don't know. It's like it seems like just like an easy way to get out of things. Like, if you want to actually tell that story, like, write it out. You know what I mean? Like, and make it part of like. I get that you want to, like, he's trying to show that the main bad guy is like a racist piece of shit. I'm like, you could still do that and talk about those issues if you really want to do that without like sprinkling all this political stuff in there. That I'm just here to see the fight scenes, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. That's like in my kung fu movie. If they're like, you know, I'm watching something that's, you know, not from the U.S., from like Japan or China, and they're like fighting people, and they're like, okay. Oh, they like punch someone in the face and they have like a MAGA hat on, and then the whole group of people are like, you know, MAGA's people. It's like, it just felt out of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just weird. Anyways, I will say that I'm not trying to put down the book at all or the character of Shaolin Cowboy. I still think it's awesome. This wasn't my favorite story from Shaolin Cowboy. There's other stories out there. You could read them all. Maskerade number 3, Kevin Smith, Andy McElfresh writing it, and John Sprengelmeyer in the art. Did you read Maskerade 3, Chris?
No, it's sitting on my pile.
Okay. I read it. You find out the origin of the hero, so I won't ruin that for you. And then who she's working with and like their whole plan. You kind of get a ground and foundation of like why they're doing what they're doing. So I think you'll like the issue. DC Mech number 4, Kenny Porter, Rebus on the art. I think it was a good issue. Everyone's preparing for like the big fight with like all the mechs and the parademons, and then Lex reveals, "I have my own mech, and it's Bizarro." So that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I read that one. Yeah, that was a fun reveal. I want to see the Bizarro mech. I love Bizarro. I think it's a cool character. So
yeah, when it was revealed as Bizarro, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It was. I was getting. I mean, I was kind of down on this book as a whole.
Yeah,
because it was just like, we hate each other. but let's be friends for the greater good. I'm like, okay, can I just see giant mechs fight?
Yeah, I'm just like, again, I'm here for the punchy. That's what I expect.
But then Bizarro showed up, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I'll keep reading.
Yeah. Ultraman number 4, Mystery of the Ultraseven. Kyle Higgins and Groom on the art. This is a cool fight because the defense team has their own like robots that form a giant like robot Megazord, and they fight the Ultraman brothers. Meanwhile, the Earth defense team is like struggling with the fact that the lady that runs everything, that's like, I don't know if she's part of the government, is like actually an evil alien. So like they're almost being forced to fight the Ultraman brothers to like take them out, and it's like, okay, so now there's some more stakes happening where like people are fighting each other and stuff. I don't know, and this is one where I'm in for like the giant kaijus and the giant robots to fight each other, and that's what I get every book. So
yeah,
Kyle Higgins delivers that. He knows what people are there for. Shirtless Bear Fighter number 3 and 4. Jody Lehup and Vendrell on the art. This was a crazy couple issues, and speaking of kaiju, Chris, and you know how much I love Shirtless Bear Fighter Part 2. The Shirtless gets caught in Japan and ends up fighting like the bear Yakuza, which is pretty awesome. And then we find out his evil clone is going around killing people and getting Shirtless in trouble for it. So then Shirtless gets thrown in jail, and there's a scene where he has to fight all these shitty villains in jail, and they're, oh my god, all of them are ridiculous. And like there's one guy who's like a shitty football coach. I can't even think of the others. There's a ton of them, and they're all like terrible bear puns. They're amazing. We find out that like Ursa Major is what's trying to be summoned by this evil clone, and by the end of it, we find out he is summoned, and he's a giant like kaiju bear that Shirtless is going to have to fight. And that was like, oh hell yeah, let's go.
That's phenomenal.
Okay, and the last book I got to this week was Junkyard Joe number 2 by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Forgot how long it's been since this book hasn't come out. Yep, I don't even. Has it been like 3 months? I don't know.
I don't think it's been that long, but it's been a minute.
I think it was a great issue. I mean, we got the issue of Junkyard Joe, the last one, which is fine. This one, Junkyard Joe comes back to see his old friend that survived in a small town, and now the army is like on the like hunt for him, killing people and looking for Junkyard Joe because he's like escape property, I'm sure. And there's another side story of like a new family moving in next to the retired artist who used to tell the like newspaper comic of Junkyard Joe. I thought it was a really cool issue. I'm interested to see where it goes now.
Yeah, it was a little. I liked it, but also like the ending of the first issue like left us with that Nixon cliffhanger, and I was like, oh, like let's do it. Let's
yeah.
And then it just like jumps like 70 years in the future. I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're not doing that.
Yeah, I guess we're not doing the Nixon thing. Yep.
That was everything for you?
Yeah, that was everything this week for me.
All right. DC versus Vampires number 11 was another really good issue. Don't want to spoil too much because it's nearing the end, but just really, really love that series. DC Horror presents Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead number 3. There's not much to spoil here. Sergeant Rock and his army get new guns, and they go and they kill more Nazi zombies. The book's great. Like, it's a simple premise, and it works. Murderworld Avengers number 1. So apparently Arcade has been putting on these underground Murderworld live streams.
Okay.
And the short of it is that this is Arcade is doing Squid Games. Like, he's putting them through this thing, and they get like a bunch of money if they survive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It is pretty fun, but like the whole story is like some like kid YouTuber starts to find out about Murderworld, so he's invited to film a documentary. When he learns that like when he gets there, Arcade has no plan for that. He's going to put him through Murderworld. And it's kind of funny because he survives the first part and then realizes like his X gene activates and he realizes he's a mutant. and Arcade's like, no mutants, that's cheating, and shoots him in the head, and that's
Oh
like
my
how
God.
the issue ends.
Wow.
But I guess as the different stages, it seems like the different stages of Murderworld are going to have different heroes. So like in this one, he has like animatronic Avengers that they have to fight, and that's why it's Murderworld Avengers.
Interesting.
Pretty good story, actually. I'll probably continue reading it. Batman Fortress number 7. This was shocking everybody. Batman didn't fall to his death at the end. He got saved in the first page.
Yep.
And they make their way through the fortress. They end up finding like the head of Jor-El, telling the story about how basically like the L's were these warmongering like profiteers back in Krypton. And so of course like Lex is going to take that to his advantage. And then we find out what's at the end of the fortress, which I will not spoil.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a pretty big spoiler. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. This is Jason Aaron's creator-owned series. He's doing like with a different artist every issue. This one follows like this guy who's. It seems like the world he's creating is like global warming gone amok. So like the sea levels rise. He's in this tower in what seems like New York City, and he's able to survive when somebody shows up. And it's the first person he's seen the whole time he's been stuck in there. So he decides to like go adventuring with her because he's lonely. And then it kind of skips like to the future where like the world is actually ending and he's being tortured by this like weird machine thing. So there's something else going on here. I feel like it's gonna be the story of those two like in their adventures and then the subplot of what's going on in the end of the world.
Cool.
It's kind of cool issue. Vanish number 3, really good issue. It's a big fight scene, so you will love this one, Mike.
Awesome.
We do get kind of the reveal of who the big bad is. He shows up to one of the characters we met previously and makes his intentions known. And we found out that the lead guy, he's able to like suck the magic out of people, so when he kills them, he can take their magic, making him more powerful, which was an interesting twist to what he was doing.
Cool.
Dark Crisis, the Dark Army. Robin goes to the Cosmic Tuning Fork and destroys it.
Nice.
That's all that happens. It was a fun issue. If you're a Damian Wayne fan, it's vintage Damian Wayne, like him being a dick.
Awesome.
My only gripe about it is the artist draws him like he's a fucking 30-year-old man.
He's
Daredevil. No, he's like 13. Daredevil number 5. So this is after Elektra and Daredevil get married, and they're trying to usher the fist into this new world to fight the hand. And they end up going to this the Miradon, which is a super villain prison, to let a bunch of villains out to join their army and give them like redemption. When the Avengers find out, so now they're involved. Pretty good issue. Also, I really like bearded Daredevil.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Star Wars Revelations number 1. Pretty interesting. It's a good starting off point for anybody that wants to jump into Star Wars. Kind of lets you know what's going on with the new story arc and where it's going to kind of go in the near future. The art's a little wonky, but all in all, pretty good issue. And then Star Wars Yoda number 1 was Yoda and Dagobah. It's kind of like the Obi-Wan series that I know you're reading it for a minute. I don't know if you dropped off.
Yeah, I did.
It's kind of like that where he's on Dagobah and then he's like thinking back on previous adventures. And this one is him like helping out this world that was being attacked by marauders. Pretty fun issue.
Cool. Avengers
Forever 11. Good issue. It's the last issue in the series. It's leading up to the big finale for Avengers. Forever Forward number 3. So we finally got to the part where they're fascist robots that scare the crap out of me. And we basically find out the robots are trying to get the scientists to help them finish their time travel technology. But the none of the group believes them, so they actually turn and kill the lead robot, and then accidentally start a revolution, because when they jump further into the future, they're dropped into the middle of a, basically think Terminator after
okay.
The robots take over. And my last book was Frank Miller's Ronin Book 2. Two things this book does really well. One, the art is phenomenal. It's a black and white book, but the artist does an amazing job of it. Two, there's a prologue of it it basically tells you what the original Ronin book was about and sets up where the story is.
Okay.
So basically, the woman that we're seeing on all the art for this was the original Ronin's wife after the events of the first book, and they had a kid together. And she's going around trying to protect this kid from this wasteland because he's got some prophecy about him. And near the end of the issue, we end up finding out that we think he's kind of a baby throughout it, because the way they draw him and hide him in this crate almost. It's almost like an old kung fu movies when they put kids on that backpack, crate backpack,
Yeah.
And then he ends up jumping out and kicking a bunch of ass. So I really love this issue. Ronin's one of those books that I don't talk about a lot, but it's one of my favorite books ever. So I was really happy that this turned out well.
Nice.
All right, Mike, that's everything I read this week. So where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on pretty much everything. I know, so Twitter, obviously. I'm not going anywhere there, but I know a bunch of comics people are jumping to Hive, so I started one of those too for some reason.
Okay.
And then you can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter. Also at FortressComicNews.com, which I think as you're listening to this is still under construction, but pretty soon it's going to be relaunched and it's going to be awesome.
Yep, it's going to be sick.
And as always, we want to support the show. You can give us the 5-star review in the podcatcher of your choice. Like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version. If you want the extra mile, Patreon at patreon.com/FortressComics, or go to the show notes for the affiliate links. And I think that's everything. My brain's mush right now, Mike. Thank you all so much for listening and watching this week. We will see you all here next week.